This video is about multiplying out brackets, in which I use some examples to show how multiplying out bracket works and what you need to take into account when doing so. First of all, multiplying out brackets, there were two types of multiplying out brackets roughly, and that is a constant times a sum, where you multiply the constant with each of the terms and then add them together, and the multiplication of two sums, where you take the first term of this sum and you multiply that with the two terms in this sum, and then the second from this sum you multiply with the two in this sum and you add them all together. Let's look at the first example. One of the biggest risks in simplifying expressions is that it becomes chaotic quite soon. One way of making sure this doesn't happen is to write every step on a new line below the step before. That way you can see which part of your calculations belong to which part of the original expression. For instance, here we have two products added together. And each of these products is, again, a product of two sums. The first thing we do is we multiply out the brackets on this product and we multiply out the brackets on this product. So here we have x times x, so that becomes x squared. Then x times negative 3a is negative 3a x. 2a times x plus 2ax. 2a times negative 3a is negative 6a squared. Don't forget the square. Now, plus. We did this part, now we're going to do this part. A times a is a squared. A times negative x is minus ax. 3 times a plus 3a. 3 times negative x is negative 3x. The next thing we need to do is find like terms and add them together, so we have the simplified expression. Well, it's important that you make sure you don't forget terms. And a way to do that is to underline terms you've already used. For instance, x squared. We're going to use x squared first, and we're going to look if there's another term with x squared in it. No, 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 no. So x squared is on its own. We write it down and we use it already. Then, and here I use a little different type of underline so I can differentiate between the like terms. For instance, negative 3ax. Let's see if there's another ax term. Here's one. And here's one. Now, since I underlined them, I can quickly recognize them. Negative 3 plus 2, negative 1, minus 1, there's an imaginary 1 here, gives minus 2ax. Then, we can see we've had the first three terms, and then next up, negative 6a squared. There's an a squared term over here, and the other ones do not have an a squared. So negative 6 plus 1 minus 5a squared. We've used this term already, so the only remaining terms are plus 3a minus 3x. Here you can see quite quickly that they are not like terms because it's the only two remaining. You write them down. And lastly, you check whether or not you've forgotten like terms. For instance, if this was an x squared and I just overlooked it before, then here I notice that I have two terms with x squared and I can use another step to fix that. But I have an x squared, an ax, an a squared, an a, and an x. There are no like terms anymore, so this is our results. Let's look at a second example. Again, we put the next step below the step before. 2ab. There's nothing I can do with this now, so I just put it below it. Then, This is something I can do something with. 3 times b is 3b. 3 times 2 plus 6. Negative 8 times b minus ab. Negative 8 times 2 minus 2a. Then there is a negative sign over here. And so there's a negative sign over here. That means that everything that follows, everything in this part, is subtracted. In order to make sure that goes as it should, we put everything here inside brackets. So multiplying out the brackets here is not enough. We have to multiply it with negative 1 as well. But first we multiply out the brackets. 2a times b, 2ab. 2a times c plus 2ac. Negative c times b minus cb. Negative c times c minus c squared. Now, we have to multiply everything here with minus 1. So we have to change the sign on every single one of these. We have a choice here to just copy this down, and after we have multiplied out these brackets, find like terms, or we have the option to create some order in this part and make it easier to find like terms with these. So let's find like terms in the part we already have. So that's from here to there. 2ab. There's an ab over here too. 2ab minus 1ab. So ab. 3b. That one's alone. Plus 6. That's alone. And minus 2a is also alone. And then minus 2ab plus 2ac becomes minus 2ac, minus cb becomes plus cb, and minus c squared becomes plus c squared. The sign on every one of these terms has changed. Then we're going to collect like terms again. ab minus 2ab is negative ab. 3b, well, there's no other term with just b in it. Plus 6, there's no other term with only numbers. Minus 2a is on its own as well. 2ac, there's no ac term. And in the last part you can see there are no more like terms, so we just copy that down. We check if we haven't missed like terms. AB, there's no other. B, there's no other. 6, nothing without letters. 2A, something with A, no. AC, check. CB, check. C squared, also check. The important part in this expression here is the negative sign, which you carry on and you make sure you copy it down to each separate term. Mind your minus. Third example. First you multiply out these brackets. A times a is a squared. A times negative b is minus ab. A times 3 plus 3a. 2 times a plus 2a. 2 times negative b minus 2b. 2 times 3 plus 6. Next term, minus 2ab. Then, plus a. We copy the plus a first and then we multiply out these brackets before multiplying with a. So that's a times b. A times negative 3. 2 times b. 2 times negative 3. And then we're going to collect like terms in the first part. A squared is on its own. Negative 1 times ab minus 2ab gives minus 3ab, 3a plus 2a plus 5a minus 2b plus 6, and that term we've already used. Then we multiply a with every one of these terms, so a times ab is a squared b minus 3a squared plus 2ab minus 6a. Let's see if we can collect some more like terms. A squared minus 3a squared is negative 2a squared. Minus 3ab plus 2ab is minus ab. 5a minus 6a is minus a. Negative 2b, there's no other term with just b in it, plus 6 plus a squared b, and that's all of them. Let's check a squared. This is an a squared b, so it's not the same. ab, a, b, no letters. This is simplified enough. We cannot simplify it further, so it's simplified enough. So in situations like these, make sure you work neatly. Make sure you don't miss out any terms. Make sure that you mind your minuses in cases like this. When there's a minus between, make sure it carries on in each and every term. Otherwise you'll lose a minus and you'll end up with a different solution than you should have. And I'll repeat because it's the most important lesson from this video: work neatly. Write down all your steps and do it with as little chaos as possible.